guys, what's up? I am going to roll the clocks back for you and share a story from when I was in high school. It is something that I feel like a lot of women and girls of all ages can relate to, and if they haven't experienced it yet, they will definitely experience it in their lifetime, sadly. This video was inspired by this girl named Fitzpatrick. She's a smaller YouTuber who I just kind of stumbled on by chance. I was in the comments for a spill video and I saw her last name, which is my last name, so I was like, hey, I'm gonna check it. And she just shared a video about how she was kicked off of the basketball team her senior year in high school. I'm gonna link it in the card above because I would like you to watch her video. She's adorable, she's ADHD AF, and I find that very relatable. But her story sucks, and it's something that happens a lot. I too was sexually harassed by a teacher in high school, and I'm gonna share that story with you, but I had a better outcome than she did, but it still sucked. I actually got harassed by other people, and it followed me for a couple years, and I would not wish this on anybody. Before we go on though, can you please like this video, leave me a comment, and subscribe to my channel? I would greatly appreciate it. All right, let's get into this. Let's set the stage. We're gonna talk 2003, 2004, my senior year, because I graduated class of 2004. I'm not old, I'm not. And I, at this point, already had my driver's license for about 2 years, and my mom told me that I could sign up for driver's ed for, I think, 7 or 8 weeks and get a discount on my car insurance. Now, I had a car and a cell phone and car insurance, and I paid for this with a job, so any discount, I was like, hell yeah, sign me up. So we had just gotten a new teacher. I don't know what his position really was. He was the health teacher and he taught driver's ed, but I don't think he was a PE teacher. I don't really know. He was a young kid. He was young. He was 22 years old and he had just graduated from IUP, which is a college I applied to and got accepted to. So we had like common grounds, I guess. We were kind of close in age, but my first impression of him was just that he was weird. He seemed like he really wanted to be liked, really wanted to be the cool kid, and a lot of people did like him, a lot of students, but I always just got this kind of weird vibe from him. And he was just kind of dorky. I don't know, maybe like I could be just being mean because I clearly separate teachers from students in my head. My mom's a teacher, so I've grown up with this mentality that like teachers are adults and different, and I just found it hard to relate to him, even though we were really only like 4 years apart. He was also not very attractive. That, take it for what it is. But my friend Gwen was like the most, how would I describe her? She is very popular, very pretty, very involved in schools, extracurriculars like student council and cheerleading, and she did things like dance, and she was very intelligent. So she had met him prior to the school year starting. I guess during in-service or whatever, she went in for helping another teacher and ended up helping him set up his classroom. So she said that he was nice. She liked him, so therefore I just gave him the benefit of the doubt, you know? I trusted her judgment. And this is not a reflection of her judgment or poor judgment, like he was just manipulative. So we'll go to the first drive. The first drive was normal. I mean, we were in the driver's ed car, so it's clearly labeled like student driver, got logos and everything all over the car, and the conversation was friendly but maybe a little too personal. It didn't feel too personal, but looking back it was. He was definitely treating me more like a friend than a student, and I guess he taught younger students. I think he taught juniors, but I know he definitely didn't teach seniors. And then he was freshmen and juniors. So maybe he just didn't view me the same for some reason. Maybe he thought like driver's ed was different than having me in a classroom. I don't really know. But the conversation was things like, well, who are you dating? What's your love life like? What are your hobbies? What do you like? And I remember he commented on my t-shirt because I still remember it clear as day. I had on my baby pink Blink-182 t-shirt because I wore a Blink-182 t-shirt literally almost once a week, if not more. I was obsessed, and they had just put out a new album, so it had like their big white logo on it, and it is what it is. I left the drive feeling like weird. Not really. I didn't really care that much. I was just like, the best way to explain it is he kind of felt like a fly, like that was just kind of annoying me, and I was just like, whatever, go away. And he did ask me about, or somehow the conversation turned to my boyfriend and her older sister. His older sister. My boyfriend and his older sister. His older sister, Amber, was gorgeous, like drop dead gorgeous, the nicest girl ever, very popular, and she was cool. And at 17, I thought she was amazing. She would let us go to parties with some of her friends, and I just felt really cool. I felt really lucky, and I guess it came up in conversation, and he like immediately latched onto it and was like, oh, you have friends my age, like I want to hang out with them. And I was like, sorry dude, like I just got invited to the cool parties, like I'm not bringing along my dweeby teacher. No, it's just not happening. But the second drive was pretty normal, and again, I felt like the questions got a little bit more personal. He started asking like where I lived and where I worked. So I told him I worked at a place in the mall, which, I mean, it's a very small town. The mall's not very big. It's still in existence, but it is dying a very slow, painful death. But that's for another day. I do remember that he brought a Blink-182 album. It was like their newest one, and I thought that was cool. Like, oh, we get to listen to music. But in hindsight, he probably shouldn't have had me listening to music while teaching me how to drive. It was really just us going on cruises, like space cruises minus the weed. Like, that's what it felt like. So I didn't think much of it, and I remember, I don't know how soon after that drive, I went once a week. So sometime between drive 2 and drive 3, he showed up at my work. But like I said, it was the mall. And I mean, it was one of 2 restaurants in the mall, and I couldn't really chalk it up to him like visiting me. It felt like it was just like him at the mall shopping. I don't know. To me, it felt personal. I felt like,
whoa, are you here? Like I told you I worked here. What are you doing here? I never saw you before, and now here you are.
But it is what it is. Drive number 3. This was the drive that the shit hit the fan. Oh, it was such a bad day. So we get into the car and he says,
oh, I spilled coffee on my pants. I gotta go home and change.
And I'm like, red flags, like immediately, like, oh, this is what? I didn't see anything on this dude's pants, like anything. And my heart started racing a little bit. He's like,
yeah, we'll just swing by my house. It'll be fine. I'll tell you how to get there.
So he had me go down all these back alleys and back roads because I'm in a student ed, driver's, teacher, whatever car. Like, it's clearly labeled, and clearly I'm a student and he should be the teacher. Like, if his neighbors had paid any attention, they would, or had looked outside at all, they would have seen this. So I didn't even realize where we were when we got there. We were on the main street, Baltimore Street, and I couldn't tell because of how he had taken me to get there. When we left and I realized when we came out on Baltimore Street, I was like,
oh shit, like we took a really weird way to get here.
But when we arrived, he said,
do you want to come inside?
And I'm like,
no, I'm good.
And my heart is pounding because, like, why would he invite me inside? It still kind of gives me like the heebie-jeebies. Like, he didn't explicitly say anything, but like the way that he was talking just made me very uncomfortable. Talking about how he had to take his pants off and change his pants and da-da-da, and I don't know, it was really weird. And I guess on one of the first 2 drives, he had asked me what my favorite Blink-182 album was, and I told him it was Dude Ranch. And he asked me my favorite song, and I told him it was Untitled, which is number 8, I believe, if I remember correctly. And he comes back out to the car. Oh wait, I forgot. So while he's inside, I had a cell phone, like 2003, like an old Nokia thing. Nobody else really had them. I had to call my boyfriend's house phone, and he's still asleep, and I'm like,
hey, John, I'm at a teacher's house and I don't know what to do.
and I'm like freaking out, and he said,
okay.
He's like,
I'm gonna call your mom.
and I said,
No, I'm gonna text her.
so like I'm texting like Tina, and I'm like,
Help, Mom, I'm at this teacher's house and I don't know how I got here, blah, blah, blah.
and so she calls me and she's like, we'll talk about this when you get home, just stay in the car until you get back to the school. And I said,
Okay.
So I go, he comes back out, he's like,
look what I brought you.
and he brought Dude Ranch, and he had just bought it at the mall when he was visiting me at FYE. Like, why? He felt like he was trying to impress me, and it was terribly uncomfortable. So I don't remember what happened for the rest of the drive. We drove around listening to Blink-182. I think it was pretty uneventful. We go back to the school. I went into my next class, which was art, and my mentor, who is now one of my best friends, Sam, she was Mrs. Little to me back then. I told her, I was like,
I have to talk to you about something and it made me feel weird and I don't know what I want to do about it.
so she listened and she said, I think you should report this. And I said, well, I didn't go inside. I don't know. I felt like I shouldn't. It wasn't a big deal, right? Like, nothing happened, nothing came of it. So why should I report it? I don't know. She respected my wishes and she said we would talk about it the next day. So I had field hockey that night. We had an away game, so we were on the bus, and I'm shooting the shit with the girls, and I tell the story, and my one friend, Kay, is like,
Megan, you should report that.
and I said,
But nothing happened. I didn't go inside, you know.
I thought I was gonna get in trouble. I felt like I was gonna get in trouble because like I kind of let all of this happen. I let him listen to music, I let him come to my work, I let him, like, I didn't actually let him do anything. That's the thing. I felt like that though. So I guess afterwards, Kay went to the guidance counselor and reported it. And the next day I went into art class and Sam was like, Megan, I've really been thinking about this and we have to report this. If you don't report it, then I do, but I need you to come with me. She's like, I would really feel better if you came and told me, or told with me, because it is my story, it is my experience. And I really respected her and I understood why it was wrong, I guess, but I was so afraid I was gonna get in trouble. And I wanted that discount for my freaking car insurance, like what was gonna happen. And everybody loved this guy, like especially the juniors. Yeah, he did teach juniors, because the juniors loved him. Like they thought he was so cool and I was just creeped out by him. But we reported it to the guidance counselor and he lost his job. I don't really know like what happened, like how, I don't know any of the details. I don't know if he was let go and that was that, if he was let go and his license was revoked. At the time I didn't know that. I didn't know if his teaching license was revoked or anything. And I caught a lot of shit for this. The juniors hated me. The junior girls would walk around and call me a life ruiner and scream stuff at me, like in the class, in the lunchroom while we're like walking in and out. They would try and start fights with me over this. Like, I already felt bad enough. Like, I already felt like I somehow had invited this on myself by being friendly in response to him, by, I don't know, letting myself get to his house. Like, I don't know, it sucked. Fast forward 2 years, I'm in college and I get a phone call, and back then I answered my phone. I didn't ignore calls like I do today, and it was somebody from a school district that was investigating this teacher, a new school district, and they said, we have come across records that you had an incident with this teacher. Can you give a witness testimony, a witness report? I had to answer a bunch of questions, tell them what happened and blah blah blah. And I think that was it. I don't think I had anybody else related to it. I think I just shared my story. Fast forward 2 more years, I'm out of college and I'm on vacation with Gwen. We're down at the beach and she's telling me all about life, and you know, she went to college in South Carolina and it was fun. And somehow this teacher got brought up and she's like, I got this weird phone call about this teacher. And I was like,
Oh shit, me too. Like, I forgot that you had, like, you were friends with him.
she said, yeah, friends is too much. That's giving it way too much. So she told me that he actually stalked her. Drove from Pennsylvania to South Carolina to find where she works, because remember the days of AOL Instant Messengers and you would leave like an away message? She would be like, hanging out at restaurant name, and it was a name, it was a person's name, so we'll just say Aubrey's. It's Aubrey's. Hanging out at Aubrey's till 9, and it was vague enough that most people didn't know what it was, but he figured out what Aubrey's was and went there. And he asked for her as his server, and then he proceeded to get shit-faced. Professed his love for her, da-da-da-da-da. Got so sloppy drunk that her managers had to escort him out. And I'm pretty sure that he like followed it up and tried to get in touch with her, but she just like took off the next couple days. That's crazy. Crazy. So it turns out that this guy had been at a previous place before my school and was let go for inappropriate behavior. He was teaching elementary school students, so I'm hoping it was like inappropriate behavior with another teacher, for God's sake. Like if it was children, and they let him, if it was children and they let him keep teaching, I will lose my shit. I don't honestly know. I never looked into it. So he went to my school, got terminated, but didn't lose his teaching license, went to a third school, had a third incident, and then lost his license. That sucks. I was a victim in that, and I still don't quite feel like victim is the right term for it. Like, I was definitely harassed. He shouldn't have came to see me at work. He shouldn't have been asking me to hang out. I found out, like, when all the juniors were harassing me and stuff, like calling me a life ruiner, he had been partying with them on the weekends. He was teaching them during the week, and on weekends he was buying them booze and weed and hanging out at his house. That's crazy. It still blows my mind that that happened, and it's just another one of those things that's like, oh yeah, that's Megan's life. But yeah, I'm sure you guys have experienced something like that, and by you guys I mean women. Men have too, though. I'm not trying to discredit men's experiences, but leave me a comment. let me know if anything like this has happened to you, especially with teachers, because that's the part that really, really creeps me out. Teachers and coaches, like, you're working with children, and children are just so malleable. And I really did carry weight. Like, I carried guilt with that for a while. I felt like I was a life ruiner. I did make this guy lose his job. Maybe it wasn't that big of a deal. Maybe it really wasn't, and I should have just, I don't know. It sucks. It sucks that I even feel like that, because he was a teacher and I was a student. But that's all I have for today, guys. I will see you in the next one. Bye.